What is up, my veggies? My name is VTR, and welcome back to another movie review. And yes, my hair's a mess, but I didn't feel like brushing it or anything like that, so let's go ahead and get into talking about this film, which is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which is a movie based around Mr. Rogers, and I'm pretty sure it says it's inspired by events that happened. So I don't know if this is a sort of they made up to go along with the actual Mr. Rogers thing. I don't know what's real in this or not. So I'm not going to review it as if it is true, which it probably is, but I don't know because it's very loosely. So that's what it's like. It's kind of inspired by true stories. There's difference between being based and inspired. Um, so I don't know what exactly is true in this and what isn't. So don't. I'm probably overthinking this too much. But one thing I'm going to point out is this is the movie the world needs right now. With how much crap goes on in the world and how much all that crap, this is the movie we need. I've heard a few other critics say that, but I'm not going to get into the whole stuff like that. I just want to talk about the movie as a whole. So when the movie starts out in the first 20 minutes, I'm sitting there in the theater. I'm like, yo, kind of don't think this is something that I want to watch. And don't get me wrong, when I heard about this, I was excited for it because just about a year before this movie came out, or maybe 2 years, something like that. Won't You Be My Neighbor, the documentary came out, and I really enjoyed that documentary. So I thought that was kind of a thing teasing, like, hey, this is coming next. And I'm like, and surprisingly, of all people to do this, it was Sony. Of all people to make this movie, it was Sony, which surprised me with how much backlash Sony has gotten over the years. Was able to put something like this out there. Don't get me wrong, Sony's had their good movies and everything. It's a little shocking that Sony is the one that did this movie. I figure like a lesser known company would probably do something, a movie with this. But still, I think it's pretty cool that it was Sony that did it. No, I was saying the first 20 minutes, I'm like sitting there, like, yeah, I probably regret coming to see this on the big screen. Because, and that's also a thing I want to point out, the fact that this is a big screen release and it's not a TV movie, which, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't have been bothered if it was a TV movie, but I do like that it was on the big screen. But if you ask me, this isn't a big screen must-see. Don't get me wrong, I hope I'll find a place for this on the top 12 list this year. But this movie, it works. And it actually got me tear up at one point, I cannot lie. But it works. It's a really good message, and there's a whole bunch and it feels like a episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, just with some with other things thrown in there, which I really like. There's actually little moments where it's Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and gotta say, the fact that Tim Allen is the one who plays, it is Tim Allen, right? Yeah. Since Tim Allen is the one that plays Mr. Rogers, I don't know what I thought about that when I first heard this, but hey, he did it pretty well. Even at the end of the movie, they show a little clip of the original Mr. Rogers, which I really, really like. And this is a pretty entertaining film. I can't say it's jaw-dropping amazing. There's not really anything that would make me like say I have to rewatch this, which I'm not sure if I will rewatch this movie ever. But it's not the best thing ever. I cannot say that this movie is perfect. I can't say it's terrible though. There's not really that, except for the first 20 minutes and a little bit towards the third act. I'm like sitting there like, I don't feel some of this, and like the movie does get better as it goes on, but then it gets to a little small place where it's like, oh no, we're getting into places I don't care about again, and then we get into this whole like drug trip type thing scene, which reminded me of the scene from Spider-Man: Far From Home. Yes, a scene in a movie about Mr. Rogers gave me flashbacks to Spider-Man: Far From Home. I know, insane. But no, this is actually a really good movie with a really good message. I wasn't even forgot this movie was already out. I didn't even know it was already out when it came out. So by the time I went to go see it, it was in a little while. It's been in theaters. I was going to go see Frozen 2, and then I was like, you know what? I got the money. I'm going to see this as well. And I walked out of it thinking, it's all right. And I think it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. So not really a movie that I would say sit down with the. Like obviously, if you're into big action or not really into drama type movies or anything like that, this movie's not for you. If you didn't like Mr. Rogers growing up, this movie isn't for you. Me personally, when I was little, I wasn't really big on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I did watch it here and there, but as I've grown up, I've had more appreciation for Mr. Rogers, and like I said earlier, this is the movie the world needs, and I hope as many people see it as possible. Just say it does start slow. I can't lie about that. It's not the best thing ever. It's not. It's definitely not terrible. It's definitely not bad. And it's definitely not all right, but it's all right. It's pretty decent, and I can't say I regretted going to see it. Now, would I say if you want to see this, would I say yes, you need to go to the theaters to go see this? No, I would say if you want to wait and see this movie on DVD, Blu-ray, digital, or whatever streaming service it'll end up on, wait, because that I 100% understand wanting to wait for this. Because I would wait if I didn't go do this all the time. This is coming from the guy that went and saw the Emoji Movie. But there's something about this movie that really just resonated with me and made me feel. It's a feel-good movie. It also has emotions and everything. It's a really good feel-good movie. I get that weird feeling in my stomach when I was watching it, and I was like, oh my goodness, they're going into some stuff. And it does. I don't know if they were like basing the way Mr. Rogers was acting when he was not in the actual show, how he acted in real life. I don't know. I feel like some stuff was fabricated. I did like the little touch, and I would believe that Fred Rogers did do this when he. I shouldn't say it's spoilers. But it's a movie I really enjoyed, and I don't think I'd go back to the theater to see it again. But I can't say I hated it. I honestly cannot say I hated it. I had a lot of fun with it. Not like in fun, like, oh yeah. I've had, not really fun, I can't say fun. It's a great movie to actually just sit down and have something, to have your mind working. And the thing is, I really like that they did these little things where it looks like it's actual Mr. Rogers interview, like from back in the day. It's just taken and replaced like the actual Mr. Rogers with Tim Allen, which I think that's what it did because I saw a picture of one thing of an interview with Oprah, and that looked like young Oprah, and the way they implement him in there to make it look like it doesn't look fake. In this movie, there's a lot of stuff in this movie, and there's just a lot of things. There are some things you see coming, but there's these transitions where it goes to a little town, like you know how you have the town like setup thing like in the movie. I'd say go see this if you think this is something you'd want to see. I'm not saying this is a must-see. It's definitely not my favorite movie of the year. If it goes on the list, it'll be like probably in the 11, 12, 10 area. But for what this movie is, it does what it plans to do. There's nothing to hate about it. There's nothing upsetting or offensive. Now, some parents I know, back in the day, I've read some articles and stuff like that about how they didn't like how Mr. Rogers touched upon a bunch of these touchy subjects. And a little bit of that is brought up in this, about how he touched on touchy subjects, but there's not a lot. And I really wouldn't say this is a kid's movie. Not that kids couldn't watch this. I'm just saying, I feel like this movie was made more for the people that grew up with Mr. Rogers. And I did grow up with some of Mr. Rogers. I just really wasn't a big deal on it. And I hope some kids went and saw this movie. Because it's an interesting watch. It makes you think. And honestly, I just enjoyed it. I had fun with it. It had a lot of interesting tones and just a lot of fun. I can't use the word fun. This is really interesting, and it worked for what this movie was. And I don't know why that's catching my attention up there. Yeah, that. It's a little hole in the ceiling. But yeah, that's all I have to say in this video, guys. That's all. I hope if you guys saw this movie, tell me what you think down in the description below. I don't really say this normally in these videos, but if you guys want to check me out and see for most movies I've seen my instant reaction about them, watch me out on Stardust. It's the same as it is here on YouTube, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.